Dear students, good morning. Welcome to Law Excellence IAS. Let us start the discussion on today's newspaper, that is 5th October 2020. The first article for discussion is Lost in the Border Crisis. To understand this article, we need to know the Prime Minister's statement before start of the parliamentary session. What he stated is the entire nation and parliament shall stand behind our military. They have to support our armed forces. From this context, let's analyze this article. Accountability is critical for any democracy, functional democracy. When we discussed governance, I told to you in the class that accountability and transparency are the two pillars on which governance stands. Second part is disputes with neighbors are essentially the political and diplomatic questions. But today, who are engaging on border questions? Is it the political masters or the military leadership? More and more, military leadership is getting engaged. And all the border issues need to be discussed by the government openly with the people and shall clarify their doubts. In Parliament, Defence Minister made a statement. Other than that, no significant action or information has come from the government. In this scenario, Government of India, which is not answering to the questions of the opposition, is putting the democracy in danger. Along with that, asking the military leadership to shield the political actions will have many untoward consequences. Government shall not shield itself under the military cover. What are the untoward consequences? First, military gets politicized. Military getting involved with political matters decreases its prestige and respect from the people. Second is public opinion can be very cautiously used in diplomacy. Let me give you one example quoted in this article. Mr. Advani, when he was the deputy prime minister, he has allowed or he gave word to the America that India will be deploying forces in Iraq. But once he came back, Indian diplomats or Prime Minister Vajpayee has stated adverse public opinion as a reason for non deployment. It means public opinion can be used to support one argument in discussions and negotiations in a democracy. So, public opinion can only be nurtured when they have the information with them. So, the present crisis need a whole of the government approach and unity of command shall be visible. Prime Minister has to lead this crisis from the front. Shielding the government under the cover of military prestige will not do good in the long run. That is the essence of this article. The next article is the future of GST hangs in balance. You know that GST stands for Goods and Services Tax, and enactment of GST is an example for cooperative federalism in India. But recently, the rift between center and the states is increasing, and breakdown of this cooperative federal structure, that is GST, is on the cards. Let us see what are the challenges the GST structure is facing today. The most important among that is politicization of GST Council. GST Council consists of Union Finance Minister and finance ministers from the states and union territories. It is supposed to make decisions collectively. But today, what happened? It is politically divided. 20 plus states are ruled by BJP and they all have favored the central government proposals of borrowing. You know, till 2022, center has to compensate the states for their GST losses. Due to COVID-19, center stated that it is an act of God and proposed two alternatives of action to the states which the states have resented. But 20 plus states have supported the center's action only for the reason that they are ruled by BJP. It means political connections became more important than the fiscal considerations of the states. Once GST Council gets politicized, the spirit of cooperative federalism is lost. The consensus will be replaced by majoritarianism, and in the case of existing circumstances, the center's power is expected to dominate because many of the states are also ruled by the similar party. Second most important thing, loss of trust on the center. Center through law, parliament through law, made a promise to the states, that is, till 2022 GST compensation will be paid to the states. And compensatory cess act, GST compensation act, is also passed by the parliament. Now government going back on its promise obviously goes for or goes breaks the trust of the states. Next, government gave a very vague reason that if center borrows the money, the ratings by international agencies will be downgraded. Remember, the central government or the state government borrowings does not matter. It is, or else the agencies, credit rating agencies takes the entire debt of the governments put together, center and state governments put together. And if you carefully observe, center is better placed to borrow and mobilize the finances. After GST has come up, the avenues of resource mobilization for the states have come down, but center still has that leverage. And second, borrowing is also easy for center. Center gets concessional loans compared to the states. In this scenario, center has to work or walk an extra mile to bridge the gap with states, which is essential for cooperative federalism in India. These are the points you need to remember. The next article, transforming business and the insolvency system. This is about insolvency and bankruptcy code. In ease of doing business index, Indian ranking has improved to 52nd position in 2019 from 108 in 2018. What is the significant difference in these rankings? That is, enactment of insolvency and bankruptcy code. In India, closure of a company is very difficult, and insolvency, it means bankers, everyone, they are interested in resolution rather than recovery of the company. So insolvency and bankruptcy code focused on time bound resolution. The critical word over here is time bound. Let us take a company is short of finances, and soon if it is becoming bankrupt, if timely intervention are not there, it becomes a downward spiral, it becomes a vicious circle. So time bound finances, time bound recovery and resolution is essential for economic activity of a given company. So the biggest strength of insolvency and bankruptcy code is time bound resolution. Second important thing is commercial codes have been established in India. Why they are important? Enforcement of contracts is critical for the conduct of the business. If failure to enforce the contract, we shall have a resolution process. These commercial courts are going to do that. And there are few more improvements which have to be done. As of now, India's insolvency and bankruptcy code is very dynamic. Remember, there is a board that is called Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India, which can set the policy from time to time, fine tune the policy from time to time. In this case, what are the improvements suggested by the author? First is a pre-packed insolvency resolution process. It means before getting into this, in the agreement level and the policy level or memorandum level itself, a pre-planned resolution process have to be incorporated. Second, technology solutions to conduct the proceedings is necessary. So digitally conducting the proceedings and resolution for MSMEs need to be developed. These are the three suggestions which author is making over here. Next article is mixed signals. Latest GST incomes of the government have increased. Gross revenue collections from GST have reached 95,480 crore rupees. Other indices like Purchase Managers Index also showed better outcomes. It means the economy shows signs of recovery. And you also know that the cases in India have reached a peak, and slowly they are expected to come down as like in Italy, America, etc. Then economic recovery is going to be expected to be better. So, but however, what is estimated growth of GST is around 12.8%. It is too optimistic to expect this now. An economic recovery and recovery in GST collections will also improve the compensatory cess collection, and it also helps the government to solve the issues with the states. You know that GST compensatory cess loss is a big issue between the center and the states now. Until vaccine. So unlock 5 is announced by the government. Closed spaces like theaters, classrooms are being opened up now. In closed spaces, you know virus spreads faster. The risk of infection is going to be high for children and also moviegoers. In this scenario, government repeatedly announcing high recovery rates without properly processing the information is making the people to remain lax on following a COVID-19 health behavior. And second important thing is government is not following the test, trace, treat concerns or protocol in India. And finally, till the vaccine comes up, healthy behavior from the people is expected, and this healthy behavior which is being evolved today, if it is retained, it is good for public health outcomes. Next article is a commission misguided. It is about National Commission for Protection of Child Rights. In this, recently a issue has come up. This organization's chief has visited child care institutions and verified that these institutions finances where they are coming from, or they are abiding by the Foreign Contributions Regulation Act or not. In a way, he wanted to cripple their financial resources. Why is he doing that? So the child care institutions are essentially involved with care work. So author, what she is trying to say is during COVID-19, malnutrition among the children, violation of the rights, violence against the children, everything is going up. In this scenario, the NCPCR has to rightly focus on these issues. It is the time it has to set the priorities rather than going after the child care institutions which are involved with the child protection. The next article is President Xi pitches for closer ties with Bangladesh, seeks BRI push. You know that close to $26 billion have entered from China into Bangladesh as investments. Another $38 billion are in pipeline. $60 billion are entering in Pakistan under China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. The Belt and Road Initiative is the major agenda for Mr. Xi Jinping to improve the Chinese prestige and influence abroad. In this case, expansion of this into South Asia obviously problematic to India. There are two major concerns over here. The China-Pakistan Economic Corridor goes through Gilgit-Baltistan region, which is part of India and which India considered its sovereignty has to exist. And second thing is debt trap diplomacy. Hambantota port, it was built by Chinese and Sri Lanka was unable to repay its debt. Finally, Sri Lanka has to forego that port under lease for 99 years to China. So this debt trap diplomacy is pushing the South Asian neighborhood into the clutches of China. It is the strategic autonomy of these countries is on the loss. That is what is India's concern. 1 in 5 Indians may be vaccinated by July 2021 government. Health Minister Harshavardhan says that around 20% of the people will be vaccinated with 2 doses of vaccine by July 2021. This is what he stated. This is Dr. Rambabu signing off for Law Excellence IAS.